Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're working on the Be Rad hoodie pattern. Now it says hoodie, but it also has an option for a neckband. So if you want to do a neckband instead of the hood, you can do that. But I am going to be doing the full hood version. It's got thumb holes, which I love, but you also have an option of no thumb holes if that's what you would like. And it's got pockets, which I'm also doing, but you don't have to. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my front, right side up. Make sure you figure out your front. And you know your back goes higher than your front, so that's how you can tell which one's your front and which one's your back. And actually I'm going to do this to all of them because I am doing all pockets. I'm going to grab my pocket and I'm going to place it 1/4 of an inch away from the edge, from that bottom edge, and place it right sides together on top of that top. So the right side of the pocket's touching the right side of the top, and the pocket's kind of facing down, so going down towards the bottom. And I'm gonna pin or clip right here on the side, and I'm gonna do that for all the sides, the front and the back. I said pick your front one, but it really doesn't matter if you start with your back or your front. You're doing that to all of them. Now, if you're only doing one pocket though, please make sure that you do the opposite on the side. So like they have to mirror each other. So if I'm doing this pocket right here, let me clip this and I'll tell you what I mean by that. If I'm doing this black pocket right here, I'm gonna grab my back bodice and I'm gonna put it right sides together. See, if I put it right sides together, it's this side. So when I open it up, it's this side that I need to put it on so that they face each other after you actually sew it. I'm gonna grab this, put it right on my mat and do the same thing. Then I'm gonna go over to my sewing machine or my serger and sew those pockets on right here at the raw edge. You can use a sewing machine or you can use your serger. I'm just gonna go ahead and use my serger. I know some people don't like to use their serger because can make pockets a little bulky, but I've never had issues with that. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also gonna go ahead and grab my iron and give this top a good steam. This fabric is so wrinkly. I didn't realize how wrinkly it was until I just started recording, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so wrinkly. Let's do that. Pockets are on. We're gonna grab our pockets and we can go ahead and steam that seam out of the way so it's kind of, your pockets are sitting there nicely. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab our front and our back, put it right side up on your mat and pin and sew those shoulders together right here. And then we're gonna attach our sleeves. Now that our shoulders are sewn on, we're gonna open that up, the arm side, right side out. We're gonna grab our sleeve, and I have it folded in half, so I'm gonna clip that top to mark my top. I just make a little tiny notch, nothing that's too big. Once you sew in that seam allowance, taking into account that seam allowance, it will get eaten. I'm gonna let you know this fabric right here before I forget. The sleeve fabric is a cotton lycra, and then the other fabric is a really thin cotton spandex. I'm not 100% sure where I got the fabric from. Alright, our sleeves are on, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn my bodice right sides together. And I'm going to sew those raw edges. Now, if you don't have pockets, you're just gonna go straight down the sleeve and the side seam. But since I have pockets, we're gonna go around the pocket. So we'll go straight down and around the pocket. So match up those armpit seams and down the sleeve and then around the whole thing on both sides. Let's work on our band. I've got my band. I'm gonna put it right sides together, and we're just gonna sew these raw edges right here on the sides. Sew them together to make it one continuous round band. And we're gonna go ahead and prep our hood. So I'm gonna grab my liner and my outer, and I'm gonna do this to both liner and my outer. So I'm gonna grab them together and place them right on top of each other, right sides together. This is my outer, I believe. think that I'm gonna use this one as my outer because I love this fabric. This fabric is cotton lycra from knitfabrics.com. It is so pretty. And I'm gonna pin all the way around the outer edge and the crown. And I'm gonna sew that together, and I'm gonna do that for my liner hood as well. So we're sewing that whole edge around. All right, my sides have been sewn. I'm gonna turn it right side out. What I wanna do is I wanna go ahead and mark my bottom center. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my seams. Those are my sides, and I'm gonna go to the front and the back and mark it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab my band and also trim all these little things. And then I'm gonna fold it wrong sides together. Once I've done that, I'm gonna match up those side seams, and I'm gonna go to the back and the front. And then I'm going to grab my band, and I'm gonna fit it right into my right sides together into my bodice. And the reason why I'm having a hard time trying to figure out where I'm gonna put it is because I have these little tags, so that I gotta make sure that the right side of that is touching the right side of my band, of my bodice, so that way it's sewn on right, so it's not upside down and looking weird. So sometimes that's why we have to take into consideration with some things the right sides together ordeal. Some fabrics it really doesn't matter, but then some does. And some do. And I'm gonna go ahead and match up those quarter points, and then we're gonna go ahead and go sew all the way around, stretching your bodice as you sew your band on. All right, we're gonna grab our hood, and we're gonna turn one of our hoods right side out. It can be either one, your outer or your liner, and we're gonna fit it right inside the other one. And we're gonna match up that crown, the top seam at the top, match it up, and then go down the front from one side and then go down the other side, and we're gonna go ahead and sew that front of the hood. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and open our hood up, turn it right side out, depending on which side is gonna be your outer and which one is your liner. I think I'm gonna go ahead and go with my outer to be this color, and you'll just like lay like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my neck, my bodice, and grab my shoulder seams and go to the back. So I'm gonna mark my back and my front. That way I know exactly where my hood's gonna go. Then I'm going to grab my hood, and I'm going to place, now, oh, I didn't top stitch, but you could have, after you sewed that together, you could have gone ahead and top stitched that hood right there if you wanted to. Steam it really well. Actually, let me steam it, but I didn't top stitch it. All right, so I steamed it, but I didn't top stitch it. Sometimes I feel like top stitching it, sometimes I don't. So it really is up to how I feel like it. And we're gonna go from the back, this is my back spot. We're gonna place our back seam of our hood right side, so the outer side, right sides with the back bodice. And then we're gonna come around the front. Now when we're coming around the front, right here, this little piece is going to overlap each other by ½ an inch. So I'm gonna grab it, and we're coming around right sides together, and we're gonna overlap them together ½ an inch right here at the part where it's the half. So overlap them together right here at that part where my front point is, and they're just overlapping ½ an inch. Now you can go to your sewing machine and baste stitch that on, so put like a straight stitch right there so it won't move on you when you're trying to sew, or however you want to do that, or if you just want to go for it like I usually do. Or sometimes I go ahead and put a little pin right here kind of farther down from the fabric, kind of act that as my basting stitch so that when I go to sew it doesn't move on me. But really basting is probably the best option at this point. But yeah, and then we want to match up all those other raw edges around the neck, and then we're going to go ahead and sew it on like a neckband. This is how we would sew on our neckband. If you need help, if you want to do your neckband style and you need help with the neckband, we do have a few videos on how to do our neckband on this channel. We have a video on bands. We also have some other videos that are helpful, and we also have lots of blogs on our website as well. So don't go without help if you need it. So let's go over there and sew this all the way around. All right, for our cuffs, we're gonna go ahead and fold them wrong sides together, and we're gonna transfer those markings from my cuff pattern over to my actual cuff. I don't have enough pins. Here's another one. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to our sewing machine and sew in these spots. So we're gonna sew right here, and then we're gonna empty, sew, empty, sew. And we're gonna sew an inch away from the edge. So sew, don't sew, sew, don't sew, sew. We're gonna go ahead and do that for both of our cuffs. All right, once that's done, I'm going to go over and steam this seam open right here, and then we're going to go over it again and top stitch those edges. Now top stitching this can be a little bit difficult because you're kind of going, you don't want to run over the other side, so I'm kind of going to move that out of the way, put that down, and then go ahead and top stitch. As I go, I'm just kind of moving it all out of the way. All right, now last but not least, our cuffs, attaching our cuffs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab my cuff and fold it wrong sides together. So that thumb hole right there should line up. Now, after I put them together. Now, if you had a really hard time, if you think you're gonna have a really hard time sewing, top stitching that area on the neck hole, the thumb holes, you can go ahead and fold the sleeve in half first like this, and then just top stitch them together, like top stitch right there and right there. They will be top stitched together, but that's fine. You can do it that way. So then I'm gonna go ahead and go to the front from here to here, and I'm just gonna half my sleeve, my cuff. That's all I'm doing, and I'm gonna do the same for the other one. So then from this side, we're gonna go to the other side and make a cut line there. So now we know how wide, and we're gonna fit our cuff in there and match up our raw edges and our seam, and then our other side. And then we're gonna go ahead and sew it all around and do that for both, and we'll be done. All right, friends, we are done with our Be Rad hoodie. How stinking cute is this? I am loving it. I can't wait to give it to my niece. She's gonna love it. I love the colors of it. I love just the look of it. I love the cuff. I am super excited. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't, and let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time.